I had to talk about the first dog that yeah, Ken and I had. It was really like Ken's dog. He brought her home. It's like her name was Dynamo. She looked like a small white German Shepherd, very sweet. She probably weighed around 40 pounds, something like that. Good guard dog and stuff too. I love the protective breeds of dogs and so on. Now, when uh, it's like I was kind of upset with Ken when he brought her home because it's like we had our first place in Gardena, which was like on around 149th or 148th Street, just east of Western, and it was little house, 2-bedroom house. It was like there was two houses on a lot, and we had the front house. And I was really upset with him because he brought her home as a puppy, and we never discussed having a dog or anything, or at least one at that time. And all of a sudden, he just brings this dog home. So I was really mad at him at first, and but of course, I accepted her. Ended up accepting her as a doggy and everything, and very sweet, mild-mannered dog. Mild-mannered dog. She was a good protective dog. Protective dog, good watchdog. He gave her the name Dynamo after a Frank Zappa song, and I didn't like the name, and the name didn't fit her at all. It was kind of a stupid name for her. She should have been given like more of a normal name, instead of Dynamo, because she wasn't, like she had a big dynamic personality. It's like that, that maybe that would have fit her and stuff. So anyway, she was very sweet, and we moved around in different places. Like we lived in Hawthorne, and she was there. We had a house there, and with her, and then also let's see, we lived just above El Segundo Boulevard in LA, really close to Gardena, with her, in a small house with her and the other dogs, and then we ended up living in Mobile Home Park, and then she spent like the last, I would say, several years, at least the last several years of her life with my parents at my parents' house, because when Ken and I broke up, I moved back in with my parents for like a year and a half, 2 years, and then I ended up getting married, and I moved out to the valley. And then when I moved out to the valley, they kept Dynamo, and they really loved her too, and so they kept her and became her dog, and they were attached to her too. So anyway, she it's like after we got her at some point in 1978, in July of 1978, I got Tasha Bouvier, so she had company then. That was nice for her. And then I ended up getting Apache too in like 1981. I got Apache, so it was like the three of them, and they were like the three um, companions to each other. And actually, when she was living with my mother later on, my parents later on, she also had company with Starsky, and it's like when I left, it's like she stayed with Starsky and stuff. I left. Anyway, so here's a picture of her. That's at my mother's house, my parents' house. It's like she's barely peeking over the thing. They at one time they had a door in the kitchen. It's long gone, but I guess it was like a half. They made it a half a door, so they keep them in there. And actually, the funny thing is, I just realized that there's other. It's like I think that's you can just see Tasha's head peeking out, and I think that's in the little corner right there on the seat. I think that's probably Apache. So, so that's that. And then here's a really neat picture. This is Dynamo, and it's like there's four dogs. Starsky's in the background. You can hardly see him, but it's like there's my skipper key, Apache, and there's Dynamo, and then that big old thing in the middle, that's Tasha, my Bouvier, and then you can just barely see Starsky in there too. It's like getting in there too, and I think I'm not sure who that is. It's like standing there. I think that might be me. But it's anyway. So and then here's another one. This one's kind of blurry. This is in the backyard, and you can also see Starsky it's kind of blurry, but there's Dynamo and Tasha and in the backyard. I don't know what year this is. It's like, because lots of times I would actually, over the years, it's like I would, when I wasn't living here at my parents' house and everything, I would bring them over frequently. Bring all the dogs over, and they like to run around the backyard and run around the house and stuff, and they enjoy their company. And if I ever had to go someplace, I didn't go away very often, but it's like if I had to go away somewhere, they would take care of the dogs. And they just liked the freedom of being here because there was a nice big backyard and everything. So, and I would oftentimes take them to Rosecrans Park and then run them out, and like they would just run free and stuff, and like get their energy out and everything, and then take them back home. So they always enjoyed that. I also did train because it was in obedience training. It's like I trained Tasha a lot, and so did and along with Apache. And then there's a special category for mixed breeds. It's, they don't call them mutts, they call them All Americans, which is a good name for them. Anyway, I did compete a little bit with her. I might actually have a trophy somewhere or a ribbon or two. It's like I didn't compete with her a lot, but I did train her and competed with her at some matches. And she liked that, so she had a nice long life, and passed away at my parents' house. Here's a really cute picture of her, and that's George, I think. I had two black and white cats. One was George, one was Blackbeard, so that's going to be George. So it's like buddies. And then this is a really neat picture. This is my parents' house. Actually, it's funny because you can kind of see the Pinky and Blue Boy paintings on the wall in the living room, but there's dynamos on the sofa with my mother, and that's the famous, pattern sofa that they had for actually decades. We just recently got rid of it, probably a couple of years ago, because we pretty much had to. It was like just really worn out. But they got it like in that sofa in like the early 1980s. It was it's like it just got worn out really bad, and I had actually had a really nice sofa to replace it with already from where I lived. So it's like, so that's Dynamo, and like I said, she spent the last probably at least several years of her life here at the house with and she had Starsky for company, and I just wanted to do a nice little tribute to her because she was just a sweetheart dog.